So I've had this idea for this video for a really long time, and I've been wanting to do it. And I was like, maybe people won't be into it, but I'm just gonna do it. I hope you like it. I'm doing an art tour of my house today. I really, really love collecting art, and also my art isn't necessarily like all fine art. Some of it is, but a lot of it is things I've collected or found, or like pieces of, you know, stories or things I've collected along the way or in my travels. And I really just, like, the reason I really want to make this video is not only to tell you stories about my art that's in my house, but more so inspire you to fill your home with things that are meaningful to you, and that you can kind of see art in a completely different way. So I'm gonna do this very like vlog style and just show you, we're gonna do a little walk around my house. I'm gonna do a full house tour eventually, but I really just wanted to focus on kind of like the design elements and art in my house today for this particular video. All right, let's go through it. Is this giant gallery wall that I have. It's just like kind of the focal point of my house. And so I wanted to just go through these pieces first because some of my favorite things live on this wall. This right here is a piece of one of my favorite books called Here is New York by E.B. White. And this book really inspired me, and this is my favorite passage out of the book. So it says, "There is a New York of a man or woman who was born here, who takes the city for granted and accepts its size and its turbulence as natural and inevitable. Second, there is the New York of the commuter, the city that is devoured by locusts each day and spat out each night. Third, there is the New York of the person who was born somewhere else and came to New York in the quest of something. Of these three trembling cities, the greatest is the last, the city of final destination, the city that is the goal. It is the third city that accounts for New York's high-strung disposition, its poetical deportment, its dedication to the arts, and its incomparable achievements. Commuters give the city its tidal restlessness, natives give it solidarity and continuity, but the settlers give it passion. And whether it's a farmer arriving from Italy to set up a small grocery store in a slum, or a young girl arriving from a small town in Mississippi to escape the indignity of being observed by her neighbors, or a boy arriving from the Corn Belt with a manuscript in his suitcase and a pain in his heart, it makes no difference. Each embraces New York with the intense excitement of first love." I love that I have this passage framed. I literally just ripped it out of the book and framed it. So this just is another example of like art doesn't need to be something expensive. It can be something just as simple as this. These two were given to me by an ex-boyfriend. He actually drew this. It has my original Instagram handle and my kind of like mantra of be better. It was like he did this on like our second date, so I just thought it was like really pretty and I loved it. And then this one he got me at a vintage shop, and the thing that bothers me the most is that the word "to" is spelled incorrectly. It should be T-O-O, but I kind of laughed because that's the first thing I noticed, and this is literally a sign about not taking life too seriously. So I was like, okay, I gotta put this up to remind myself, like, don't take it too seriously. You're fine. I've been to two kind of experimental theater things. One is called Then She Fell, and one is called Sleep No More. And these are little memories of both of those times. Really, really special. This was a beautiful portrait captured by Smashbox Cosmetics owner Davis Factor. He's an insane photographer and super talented, and he captured this photo. And they sent it to me in the mail as a gift, and I absolutely love it. David Bowie is just iconic. I love that it's iconic, yet it's candid. He just has such a pensiveness. I really enjoy it, and I think he's such a genius, so I love commemorating him on my wall. I also keep a lot of photos and little Polaroids and things around to remind me of just sweet times with friends, and display some of these books that I collect, these Lost In books. And if you move on up, this is it actually looks like a painting, but it's actually a photograph by an artist named Peter Marginelli. And Peter was one of my clients way back when I worked in interior design and architecture field. And he is this amazing photographer that mostly deals in landscape. So this is actually a part of the Highway 1 in California. And I have driven through this pass many, many times. And I love California, and it just reminds me and always brings me back to that West Coast love that I want to go back. And it's actually a very rare moment because this was photographed in a rainstorm in California, which like never happens. So I loved that it's like a different perspective on California. I'm not tall enough to get it all the way, but an ex-boyfriend actually showed up at an airport with this sign that said like happy birthday and I love you, and it was just such a beautiful thing. And I was like, I don't want to keep this poster board, so I just cut out a section of the poster board and made it into a piece of art. And I know some of you are probably like, you're a psycho for having all this stuff from like people you've dated on your wall that like reminds you of it. And to that I would say, like, I'm just so thankful for people in my life that have influenced me, and without them being part of my life, I would never be where I am today. So, having like something an ex made me, or a photo from a memory of a trip with someone else, like that doesn't actually like bum me out. It makes me really happy that it happened. And I understand some people's relationships come with a lot of hurt and a lot of pain, but for me, it comes with a lot of like joy and memories. And I don't sit here, looking at my wall being like, oh, what could have been, or, oh, that fucking asshole, none of that. It's just like, those were good, sweet memories. And I remember how those things made me feel. Like for example, the like picking up at the airport poster, I felt so loved. And I think we have to remind ourselves of times we felt really loved and felt really thought of. And so, I don't attach that to a person anymore. I just attach it to like, oh wow, like I was so cared for in that moment. And I remember the feeling of just coming on my birthday at like 4 a.m. home from a work trip and just being like, wow, like I feel so insanely loved. And that's a great feeling, and everyone should experience it. So I just, that's just a brief intermission to tell you that like, you don't have to separate. You can separate people and how they influenced you, and take the good away and leave the bad. So that's just a sidebar. Is one of my favorites. I took this actually just on an iPhone, and this was in Suture Baths in California. And it was such a calming, beautiful moment. And I thought it was just a really good capture, and it reminded me of a trip that we did kind of up the West Coast. And it was such a moment of peace. And so I always go back to this photo and I think of how peaceful I felt. This is a drawing of me that someone did many, many years ago at a Refinery 29 party. It's one of the first industry kind of like fashion parties I went to. And so I was like, I will always keep this just to remind me of like how excited I was. And it's a good reminder to like still be excited about things, It's like, don't get jaded by getting to go to a lot of events and things like that. Like, you're lucky to be there, and you're lucky to have these opportunities. So I really love having this little piece around. Next up is this gorgeous piece, my most favorite piece in my entire collection. This is a painting by Michelle Thomas, and it's just a watercolor. Michelle was is an Instagram follower of mine, and she made this gorgeous large-scale painting for me off an Instagram photo. And I find it so incredibly stunning. She is so talented. The detail on this is unreal. And so every time people come in my house, they're like, who made this? And I'm incredibly flattered. And also I'm just stunned at how talented people are. Here is the first thing you see when you come into my house. It's the first piece of art you encounter. And this was created by my 3-year-old niece. She's not really my niece, but she's my friend's daughter, and she's like my niece, Eleanor. And I gave her a few colors to color with, and this is what she made me. And I cropped it, and I put it into a really nice frame, and it just appears like modern art. And I love it so much. And this is just a reminder that anything can be art. if you have kiddos around your house, or if you're a proud auntie or uncle like I am, you know, being like, here are some muted neutral colors for you to play with, and have them make you something. And I love that you kind of can and can't tell that it was made by a child, but it just reminds me of her and of like the beauty and talent of kiddos. And I'm very, very thankful, and I love it so much. I have this piece kind of like leaned up against a wall, but this is the last thing I will show. And this is a photo my friend Sarah Karen's shot, but my friend Jean Michelle Lopez gave me this as a gift. And it is my first billboard, a photo of my first billboard on the corner of Broadway and Lafayette Street. And this was just like such a crazy moment for me to see my face in a building. And it's just something that like I will have forever and I will treasure forever. And it just captured it so beautifully on like the perfect New York City night. So this is just a really special thing. It was really thoughtful, and you know, it just really marks a extremely important, crazy time in my life, and so I'm really thankful to have it. That is it, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this little art tour around my house. Art is whatever you make it. I hope you learned that you can really transform any memory into a piece of art. It's just how you kind of bundle it up and package it and choose to call it that. So thank you so much for watching. I hope to find you on the next one. And we're gonna do a house tour very, very soon. So get ready. All right.